Should this be available for middle schoolers?
Middle schools, I would go along with middle school, but not elementary.
So you think maybe middle schoolers, maybe they're 11 years old, should they be seeing how to blow a on?
No, I don't. No.
We're not trained, and I don't know, are you a trained librarian to make a conclusion like that?
This content, again, is sexually explicit. This is graphic.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. You often hear Democrats talking about how Republicans are banning books, but what books are those, and more importantly, what's in them that people are finding offensive? Today, I'm in Philadelphia at the Moms for Liberty Summit to find out. Let's go talk to some people. Huge shout out to our friends over at Allegiance Gold for sponsoring this video. You know, Moms for Liberty, books that they're looking to have removed from schools. Why are you shutting down her voice right now?
I'm a guy, actually.
No one's trying to shut down your voice. We don't speak to fascists, so we're good.
I'm not a fascist.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
Why are you guys protesting Moms for Liberty?
Because they're pretty much against all the things that I value. They're basically for authoritarian government. They're against democracy. They're anti-LGBTQ people's existence. And I'm very comfortable now not calling these people fascists as a way of insulting them or calling them names.
You genuinely mean it?
Descriptive, historic meaning, and there's no other way to categorize them.
We're obviously here at the Moms for Liberty Summit. We're speaking with some protesters. We'll start with the first accusation that they've made, and that is that Moms for Liberty represents and supports fascism. Are you a fascist?
No, I'm not.
Are you guys fascists?
I'm not. Are you? I am not fascist.
No, I am not. I am a proud American who love this country, the land of opportunities.
You're here at Moms for Liberty. You're obviously not a part of it, but you're here, working the event and all that stuff. Are you a fascist, and do you think that these people come off as fascists?
Well, last time I checked, I was not a fascist. And I actually know both the founders, Tina and Tiffany. They're moms. They're just regular people. They're very humble. They're not fascist whatsoever. They just care about the state of children.
It's kind of funny when they say that we're Nazis. It's funny and silly to me, and I just don't. All we're doing is trying to protect our children, save America, and that's all that we're doing. So, and of course, empowering parents. So, of course not. No fascist.
Nope.
All right, so we got that out of the way.
Yes,
All right.
correct.
What would some examples be for you that would kind of show you that this is more of a fascist group?
I have an answer to that. Because besides their platform, which is anything but freedom or liberty, what they do is they harass and intimidate people who want to speak out against what they're doing. On the local level, there has been harassment and intimidation by this group. And again, they are not for the values that any American should cherish, regardless of their political party or affiliation, or if they're not even politically minded, because this isn't the American way to say that teachers and librarians can't decide which books are appropriate. And they have that agenda to build from the so-called grassroots parents' rights. That's how they get people hooked in who aren't really paying attention. It's not about parents' rights.
Really quick, I wanted to talk about the books.
Yes.
Because that's going to be that's a big focus of people inside banning books. Have you heard that in the media at all?
Yeah.
Banning books. Have you guys heard that narrative?
Yes.
Okay. You've heard that?
Yeah.
So I have a couple screenshots from a couple books here.
Okay.
These are a couple,
Hold on.
2 books. So we have Trans Bodies, Trans Cells. Have you guys heard of this one?
Nope.
No.
We have record of it being removed and in high schools all across the country. This is called Trans Bodies, Trans Selves, referring to transgenderism. And in this book, this is a photo right here. These are blurred out, but these are little, model penises, basically. Those are blurred out wieners. And then this is a seemingly naked transgender individual in the book. Actually, in the book, okay, and you can either agree with this or disagree with this, instructs youth on how to find and make pornography in this book. Okay. There's photos of naked individuals that are trans.
They're not in my school library and they're not in my public library.
So we have no problem with these being removed from school libraries. Is that correct?
It's not an issue. I'm not interested in it.
First of all,
This person's naked. Let's say it's in high school. Should students have access to a book like that?
if it's going to help them in their lives in high school, yes. A child who is thinking, am I trans, am I not trans, might want to think about, well, what would my body be like?
In a part of it, they instruct youth on how to find and make pornography. Do you believe that that should be allowed in high schools, public high school libraries?
All right, everyone, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor. On the heels of the second largest bank failure in U.S. history and the 8th interest rate hike within a 12-month period, 186 more banks are at risk of collapsing, and yours could be next unless the Fed does what they just did back in March and print $300 billion out of thin air, making your dollar worthless. Not to mention the recession risks that could have a significant impact on your investment and retirement accounts. You guys protect your financial future with something real. Gold and silver from my friends over at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA or 401k with physical gold and silver, or if you prefer, have it delivered securely right to your front door. Since the beginning of time, there's only one universal currency that is always of value, and that is gold. Allegiance Gold has the highest ratings in the industry, 5 stars with TrustLink, a AAA rating with the Business Consumer Alliance, and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. I've had a lot of you guys reach out saying how satisfied you were with the customer service over at Allegiance Gold. I love hearing that. You can invest with confidence because of the quality and service of my friends over at Allegiance Gold. And here's, of course, the best part. Get up to $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithklug.com today, or give them a call at 844-790-9191. Don't let the Fed play Monopoly with your money. Protect your future with Allegiance Gold. Visit protectwithklug.com or give them a call at 844-790-9191. I'll put links down in the description below. Let's get back to the video.
The overall point of this is the kids need to have resources to help them through the difficult period of time in their lives.
Correct.
And censoring these books is not helpful.
These are tough questions. I'm very liberal.
Yeah, you're very liberal. Is this a left or right issue, having this in schools?
High school kids should be able to handle that. By the time they get to high school, they should be exposed to all that.
So by the time they get to high school, they should be exposed to naked transgender individuals in books?
Well, it depends on the community where they're from. You know, like your rural areas, like up in the hillside, probably not exposed to all that.
So could
But
you...
if they're more, urban, like the city, they're all exposed to that.
Do you believe that that is age appropriate for even high school? What do you think?
No. I don't even want to look at it.
You should feel safe sending your children to school. This is not safe. This is not safe for children to see.
This is pornographic. Pornography can exist in images, it can be cartoon and illustration animation, and it can also be in explicit texts. Mm-hmm. And so having graphic literature and content is not appropriate for schools.
It's not something that is necessary for kids to have. I'm 38 years old, and not that long ago I was in school, and we didn't have anything like that, and we turned out just fine. Yeah. So I think there's a deliberate push to make people think that we need to be more sexual with our children as far as discussing it. But I don't think it's a focus that should be had.
Tracy and I have both found hundreds of sexually explicit books in our children's library. I found
within your school district?
Yes. In my son's high school, my son's middle school, and even in my twins' elementary school, there's gender transition books. And when I asked for those just to be moved to an age-appropriate place, not banned, we get shut down. So all of the books are pretty much still there. So we're definitely not banning books. If a parent wants to go out and buy these books themselves on Amazon or go to Walmart, they are more than welcome to do that. But we don't think that our taxpayer dollars should be paying for those books, especially when they're sexually explicit and age inappropriate.
When it comes down to taxpayer-funded schools, public schools, is that something that maybe people should be dealing with in their own personal lives and not at their publicly funded school, or no?
No, I don't think so. I think that the schools are responsible to help our children grow and adjust, all of our children, and adjust to being in the real world. When I was a young man, which was many, many years ago, we had Playboy. We learned it through Playboy.
Did you have it in school?
I'm sorry. How is this different?
Did you have it in school?
No, we did not have it in school. But
that would be how it's different.
But now, I think what is different about it, it's realization that kids have sexuality and are waking up to it, and it's better that they be educated about it by professionals, by people who can screen those books in the schools, make like the librarian, and make determinations who it's appropriate for and where it'll be.
Now, if this book is instructing youth on how to find, there are sections of it, it's not the whole book, instructing youth on how to find and make pornography, is that over the top or no?
If you're giving me a hypothetical, because I'm not
I'll give you
agreeing
a
that that's what that is, probably it would not be appropriate in a high school. And frankly, kids can find that online anyway. It is so easy to find.
That's correct. But there is a difference between what's in a public school library and online, though, right?
The difference is that whatever's in a school, the kids have access to talking to adults about it.
Sorry,
I ain't talking to fascists.
I'm not a fascist.
Yeah, you are.
No.
You gaslighting.
What part of fascism says that people want to have open discussions?
Honestly, you're trying to lead me into
not acting in good faith. They're trying to put you.
I'm allowing this person to have their voice and speak their opinion. You're literally preventing this person from speaking. And I'm acting in bad faith, but you're shutting down the conversation. Is that correct?
I have asked many times, can we just have discussion? I would love to discuss with the people that are actually in the reading committee that continue to vote these back in. Why do they think that that's appropriate? Convince me. Yeah. Show me I'm wrong, that this is appropriate for children, middle school, high school, even elementary. We found some inappropriate books in our elementary school, but they won't even let us discuss it. No. And so that's the question that I have is why won't they sit down, have a civil discussion with us?
You're fighting for open dialogue, basically, when it comes to
Absolutely. We will talk to anyone, but nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to say you're banning books, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, we're not talking to you, and that's it. They close the discussion out. We need to be able to talk in America today. If we're going to fix America and save America, we need to have open discussions. And that's, I think, a big part of the problem is the two sides just aren't talking and communicating.
Genderqueer, do
you have that one there?
Yeah, that's another one.
That's one that should be required reading for every adult in the country.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a great,
and it can be very helpful for students in school.
Adult graphic novel section of my public library. I have my own personal copy, and it should be required reading for all of those people.
So right here I have Genderqueer, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this one, but this is available in many middle schools, high schools, maybe even earlier in some places all over the country. Just a couple pages for you I'm going to show you. So right here, there's this minor that got a new fun sex toy, and I apologize for the graphic footage, but I do want to show you someone performing oral sex. Should this be available for middle schoolers?
Middle schools, I would go along with middle school, but not elementary.
You would go middle school?
Yeah.
If you're talking about middle school and, kids are curious, I think it's perfectly appropriate. There's no way I'd ever call that book pornography.
Okay.
I've read it.
So you think maybe middle schoolers, maybe they're 11 years old, should they be seeing how to blow a on?
No, I don't. No.
No? So you changed your mind on this? Or?
Middle schools, what ages are they?
Middle school would be like 11 to 14?
11 to 14. Oh, no, high school.
High school then?
Yeah.
This is one that's being largely contested when it comes to just examples that people would bring up. I was running it by people and seeing if they believe that it's acceptable for public high school. In your opinion, you're a librarian, what do you think?
I think that this is what kids live. They're sexual people, not children, but young adults and kids in high school. They have sex, they have gay sex, and it's part of their life.
That's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
Is this too graphic for high school?
No, I think they're able to handle that.
And why are they able to handle that if they're not able to handle pornography and stuff like that? Is this educational, do you think?
Well, it just depends.
What does it depend on, do you think?
On how they're brought up in their neighborhood and their community.
So maybe some communities might want minors to be performing oral sex with a strap-on sex toy?
No, I don't think no, not at all.
Here's a couple screenshots from the book. And right here, there's a scene with fantasizing.
We could skip to the punch. I don't agree with it. I don't want my 11-year-old daughter to have to read about sexuality right now. You know, she already has so many questions. I come from two mothers. My mother is gay. She's married to another woman for 30 years, and I don't agree with it. You know, no matter what my feelings are about anything else. You know, love is love, and I am a biracial woman, but I do not feel that she is at a point where she can make a decision in her life of her sexuality.
Should this be in the student library? That is oral sex right there. What do you think?
It should be age appropriate. And
What is age appropriate to you?
what is age appropriate to me? Well, it depends on what it is. I mean, you start children from this high and you teach them one way, and once they get to another level, you teach them another way and another way and another way as they get older.
People are calling this pornography. Would you call that pornography content or similar?
I don't want to read it. But hey, I can't tell other people they don't want to read it.
Yeah, it's in a public school though. It's not like banned from existence.
Well, I'm telling you, it's not in the schools in Philadelphia because they don't even have libraries. Okay.
Would you be in favor of removing this from K through 12?
Yes.
Middle school, high school?
Yes.
Yes.
It shouldn't be allowed in front of any minor child.
Children do not possess the typical capacity to process this information. This is incredibly explicit. So I would say it does not belong in middle school or in K through 12.
And why is that?
Here's why. Can students of that age walk into an adult bookstore and purchase material like this?
No.
Okay. In most states, that's not legal. Okay. Why would we put this at the fingertips of our youngest children in the nation?
Why are we even arguing about this? I don't understand. I want them to make that make sense to me. That a drawing of children giving each other oral sex is appropriate. But when you ask that question or you show this book, they can't. They run away because they know that's not right.
Those whose ideas about what is and isn't appropriate are forming. Why would we expose them to this when it's clearly adult material?
There's sexually explicit books with girls giving boys blowjobs at my son's middle school last year. I called that out and said it doesn't need to be there. This is an LGBTQ thing. This is a sexually explicit thing.
What would you think about high school? Still no for that one? What do you think?
I think personally that this kind of content doesn't belong in the schools because this is exactly why we have a rating system for movies. I think those kinds of things are just not educational. Schools don't exist to teach sexual technique.
They want to, show someone get ready to take a bath and taking their clothes off and they're in the nude. I mean, that's just the same difference as that.
So you think maybe somebody taking a bath would be on the same level as giving oral to a strap-on toy?
It wouldn't be the same thing.
On the same level, though?
No, I don't think so.
No, I would say that school does not have the right to show this kind of explicit material to kids. I don't think it's beneficial, and I certainly don't think it is sex ed as it's claimed. It's not sexual education. It's kink education, right? It's going into details that are not necessary to explore it yourself. It's showing you ways you should explore sexuality. It's siloing you towards an ideology. They talk about education, not indoctrination. These books are explicitly indoctrination.
Those are tough questions. See, I'm a very liberal person, and I'm gay.
Okay.
So I'm exposed to all that.
But do you have to be a Republican or Democrat or straight or gay to say that this is maybe not age appropriate, or what do you think?
I'm very liberal. I'm retired. I'm like 77 years old. Go for it.
So this is more of a liberal value, is showing children
I think
how to,
well,
how to
tough question
for this, the sex toys. It's a tough question
for me to answer.
Okay, so if it was happening somewhere in the United States, you would be okay with it at a certain level, but not all the way, not like K through third or first through sixth.
Need to pick the books. That's their pay grade.
No, that's it.
The experts are picking the books. Librarians who've gone to school who vet these books for being age appropriate.
Okay.
This is why we have these folks with this kind of training.
It's not an issue. For their fascist designs.
Okay.
We're not trained, and I don't know. Are you a trained librarian to make a conclusion like that you did about that
No,
photo?
he didn't.
Yes, he did. His photo made a conclusion that it teaches.
These are screenshots from
Okay.
people that were, that were documenting what they were trying to remove from school libraries.
Got it.
So if it's not happening, that's one point. But also, if it was, there's an age-appropriate limit that we all would believe in.
It's not a topic for conversation or discussion because they're only making it up and using it as a screen for their fascist, authoritarian governmental designs. It has nothing to do with books. It has to do with one-party rule.
But between us right now, we can make it about books and draw a conclusion.
No, because I don't want to be quoted as even showing any interest in the book issue. It's not my interest.
If it's in the schools, it means that the kids are curious. I'd rather them be curious and then go to their professionals in the school, the counselors, the psychologists, and those are the people who are most prepared to help them if they're questioning.
What about their parents?
I think it depends on who the parent is.
You only picked the sex ones. You didn't pick the Black Lives Matter, the
these are
Black
the ones
History.
that they bring up our issues.
They bring up issues.
So I'm running them by you. Are you upset about that?
I'm upset that you have made a very narrow selection.
All you have to do is shut it down and say no, or it's not happening, or that's all you have to do. We don't have to be upset at me for bringing this up to you.
But I'm being loud because I want to be heard, and it's a ridiculous. It's an it's a ridiculous issue.
Parents' rights. There are children rights.
Only go so far.
Yeah, they only go so far. It's up to the professionals who know what kids go through, and parents want to be blind to what their kids might be going through, or want them to just put in denial about them maybe having an identity which doesn't match their own, and I don't think that's helpful.
I don't think it's just random that so many kids are identifying as LGBTQ AI+. I myself identify as Two-Spirit, which of course is bull, right? When you go around showing people this, I see 60-year-olds with signs that say, "Oh, stop banning books." That's these are the same people who were protesting for gay marriage, 20 years ago. I don't even know the timeline because I'm only 20. Those old people who are not deeply enmeshed in this movement, they just have found it as their tribe and they want to support it because they see it as a civil rights movement still. They have no clue what they're behind.
We heard a protester mentioning how, trained professionals, librarians should have the final say of what ends up in that school, not the parents. What would your response to something like that be?
So, when it comes to serving the community, you're supposed to serve the community. If the community pushes back, then you need to take that under advisement. If you have a number of parents who do not want something in that library, even if it's not 100%, but there's enough there to cause some sort of noise, you should err on the side of caution, and maybe you should not have that in there.
They're my kids. They're not yours. That's right. I will have those appropriate conversations about people that think they have a different gender or a different, sexual preference. We'll have those discussions as I see fit. It is not, again, like Joe Biden said, they're not his children, they're our children. And so it's our responsibility to have those conversations.
Do you think parents should have a say in their children seeing this material in their school?
I would think so.
You would say so?
Yeah.
Why do you think some of the protesters outside would be in favor of this? Why push it? What are they thinking, do you think? I mean, this is just your interpretation, but what's their argument there?
I think we've weaponized empathy, and we've found another victim class of transgender people, however you want to define it. But there are people out there that claim to be transgender, claim to be oppressed, and so we've weaponized empathy. So anything that shows to be in support of transgender people is something that they want to push, and they ignore everything else around it. But when you put stuff like that in front of their face, they can't explain it. All they know is that love is love, and we're supposed to support everything, and let's be inclusive. But we're not inclusive of everything in life. We have some sort of limitations. And I always feel like when it comes to children, you err on the side of caution. And so this is the caution we should be keep away from our kids.
I personally think that this material, it reduces a child's boundaries, their personal boundaries. It's teaching them consent, which sounds really great, but consent to a minor, consent to a middle schooler, to a fifth grader, is defined as how to give permission. So they're actually teaching kids, instead of how they used to, how to say no, how to have healthy boundaries, how to protect yourself. They're actually teaching kids how to say yes to sex. And they're doing role-playing negotiation activities in the classrooms. So some of these books are to motivate and to provide a new value system, to replace the former with the new.
So, first of all, I want to live, so I don't want to give my real opinion, but this country is not running the way that it needs to be running at all. We've taken religion off the table completely, so we're a free country. You should be able to do what you want to. However, believe in what you believe in, but they've completely removed everything. But these kind of things, I just think that children are not formed. Technically, they say until 25, a man is not mentally together. Developed. So, if they're not formed, we shouldn't introduce them and push the agenda on them. Any agenda. But when it comes to this point, like, she doesn't even, let's be honest, 11-year-olds can't even, excuse my French, wipe their properly. They don't need to.
These books, they can go on Amazon and purchase them if they really want it. For sure. But if that's the case, these aren't banned books, so why do you specifically want this book within the school? That's the question. Most of the people aren't talking about, we don't want these books, we want another book. They're actually just saying, we don't want these books.
Right.
So they're not trying to indoctrinate from the other end most of the time. They're saying these books are over the limit, everything else is fine. So there's some sort of limitation that we're trying to reimpose. And honestly, I didn't think it was a limitation we had to even talk about. It just seems pretty common sense to me. But common sense is right-wing and fascist these days, so.
All right, everyone, that is it for today. So what do you guys think? Do these books belong in schools or do they not? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Really well said, thank you. Cheesesteak? Or are we doing pizza?
Angelo.
Angelo's?
You already had pizza.
All right, Angelo's, let's go.